So some of our students are around that kind of 17 age gap, and a lot of them come in all happy because they've just passed their driving tests.
I remember that moment.
Yes, and one of them the other day said, I've just passed my driving test, but I went to fill the car up and I saw all the other cars there filling up with petrol, and I thought about all the cars in the world and how much fossil fuel is there left, and they're really worried about it. So do you think that's something that students should be worried about? Will they be able to keep that car running for the rest of their lives on fossil fuels?
Well, there is certainly a limited amount of oil and gas under the ground. That's absolutely the truth. And if you take the UK reserves as an example, there's only about 50 years worth of those left. So the reserves that we have are in Scotland and around the UK. So it's absolutely a fact that we've got to find other renewable sources of energy. So the other interesting thing that's happening here though is that car technology is already changing. You've got electric cars coming in, you've got cars that run on all sorts of renewables themselves. So it's quite exciting. I should think in the future we'll all be driving different types of cars, because it is a fact that fossil fuels will run out, so we've got to get renewable.
In essence, we are going to run out. There's no question of that. There is. I think we're probably past peak oil now already. We have a situation where, in America at least, they're growing petrol by effectively it's biofuels that then go into the vehicles. I'm confident that there will be other ways. Electric cars are sort of coming on, so I'm confident that there will be other technologies that can power cars when we run out of fuel.
They were always told it's all going to run out in 30 years' time, whatever it is. And either they find more of the fossil fuels, or they find better ways of getting what is left, which hitherto had been regarded as inaccessible. But he's actually right to be worried when you see the numbers of people coming into work every day, one person per car, sitting in queues, engines ticking over. It really does seem an awful waste, doesn't it? And you can't help thinking to yourself, couldn't more of these work at home, or couldn't they share transport? And there are some local councils who manage to incentivise shared driving. In fact, the son of a friend of mine operates a business on that, on getting people together so they do save on their own petrol. But he's right to be worried about that, because it is a nonsense. And if you go to some major cities in the world, I mean, it's appalling. You just cannot get anywhere in a car. They've reached gridlock, serious gridlock, and just sitting in there with your engine ticking over is a waste, an utter waste of resources, pumping a lot of fumes into the atmosphere, and this is where I think the Green Party do have a point, and they question this, and I think they're right to question it, actually.
You should be worried about fossil fuel being used, not fossil fuel reserves. The problem is there's too much fossil fuel, not that there's not enough. So look forward to driving your battery car, powered by renewable energies, on roads which are friendly to walkers and cyclists and bus users. Use your car, enjoy it, share it if you can, but don't worry about fossil fuel reserves, it's the least of our problems.
Well, I think, there are new technologies developing all the time, and we've seen huge growth in electric cars, for example. Now, obviously, a lot of our electricity is still dependent on some amount of fossil fuel, but that is changing too, and that's why I think we need to continue to invest in renewable energy. I think that there's plenty that we can look at in terms of thinking about wave energy, for example, and tidal energy, which around the Norfolk coast could be a huge area for thinking about how we actually create better energy in the future. But really we need to also start thinking about how we need to stop our reliance on the car to some extent, because actually unless we have decent public transport, people are going to have to use their cars to get to work or to get to college, and for me I think that's not only a big problem for the environment, it is also unsustainable, and therefore we need to find a lot more things where we walk to the places that we work or we go to school or college, and we need to ensure that people have the option of using low cost but decent public transport times that they can use it, so that we're not so reliant on something that, as you say, at some point it's going to go.